So hi there and welcome back. This is another review of a kit from Alpha Model. I already made on my channel, go and search for it, the promo about the diecast, the kit review, sorry, of the SP3 from Alpha Model always, that was a company sample to be assembled in a quite nice way. And when I kept in touch with the company, I had a brief talk with a fellow there, and I, of course, made him understand that I basically do racing cars. So at the time, I was much more willing to have something racing. Daytona SP3 is just an extremely luxury car, probably one of the nicest Ferrari ever, and they do an incredibly nice quality model of this SP3. So I had still the problem that I wanted to do something racing. My production is basically race cars, K3 935/78, another K3 from Scale Coach Works, I think. And so I was missing basically this model. This is the Porsche 911 992 model version from 2023, and it was the Rexi car. Rexi was AO Racing main sponsor. That was the Monster Energy car, and it was car racing at Le Mans 2023. It was famous because the livery was painted completely in green with the drawing made by a kid. I think I read somewhere that it should be the son of the company owner, that wanted to do this aggressive livery with the teeth in front of the 911 because the big mouth in front looked like a dinosaur eating the other cars, typical kiddish stuff. But it was extremely nice, Then also the Monster Energy team used, the similitude between dinosaur and Godzilla, and the symbol is always the same. So the car, despite here in the instruction sheet is completely in gray, is a bright green. So it's a bright green that looks like that part, to have an idea. And I think the original color is made by Zero Paint, as well as if you search in the range of Gunze Sangyo, which I like much more than Zero Paint. There is several tones of green that are suitable for the Rexi model, So basically, how did it end? Despite the company told me that they were going to reissue that, when I asked for this model directly to them, the answer was absolutely honest. They already sold it out completely, the model, because as soon as this model have been announced, it have been sold out all over. This is one of the last ever that I could take from my good friend George from Greek. And if you are in Europe, I deeply suggest you to keep in contact with George, because George is, first of all, an exceptional model. If you look at the model that he does, is really another level, and is an extremely kindly guy, and absolutely trustable and reliable. So I took my model directly from him, and I paid, of course, for him. Despite this will be anyway kind of promo for the Alpha Model production. So this is something that I paid, so I have no willing to say the truth and say if the quality is crap, the quality is not so good. But the reality is that the model is absolutely fantastic. It's really well done. So it is exactly what do you expect from a model like this. The subject, as we say, this famous Rexi car, the green, they place this presentation in front of the box. The box always have a presentation in color and a presentation made with the 3D frame. Very aggressive and interesting, But this is Rexi, the green version. I think that can be absolutely probably that they will just update the decal sheet and the instruction sheet in the following version. That can be the other Rexi. There was also a pink one, because of the same livery they make a green and the pink version of the Rexi. And then there is millions of Mantei racing versions, I already get a little bit disappointed at the time, because when they first, I didn't understand the origin of that model, honestly, in the beginning, because I kept in touch with another China guy, Lee Ray. I don't know if it is the real name or it's a kind of nickname, Also, I have nicknames in Facebook, And basically in 2019 they made the first version of the 992. That was the first one featuring vents over the front fenders. Over here they had the two very nice and aggressive black vents, which is not present in the 2023 version of the 992 GT3R. The GT3R, this is the latest one racing. Now there is just the updated version of 2024 that is slightly different in minor detail, but basically the body is always the same, you know. Porsche have two main racing models, that is the GT3R, used also by private racers, and the RSR, that is the official Porsche's, the bigger version, you know, with the motor placed in the middle of the car. So it's a mid-engine car. It's no longer a rear engine car like the ordinary 911 is. And first of all, the quality of the cast is absolutely flawless, absolutely nice. There is no flash, there is no mistake, no bubbles, you know. It's really very, very, very well done. I'm really glad, because I think that exactly the same type of resin is exactly the same one that I use for my production models. You see, the color is exactly the same, and the type of detail, a little bit glossing around the model. It means that the body have been reworked in a very, very professional way to look, you see, look nearly glossy, so you don't have to sand anything. It is not like the typical 3D based models where you have any way to keep the lines away from the detail of the printer. This is already prepared and completely perfect to be perfectly painted, you know, after the primer. So the detail is very finely recessed line, you know, engraved all over. And only in my opinion, I will probably go for a little deeper marking of these panel lines, you know, because during the painting process it's very easy with the colors and gloss and so on to simply eat and all the details, you know. So it's very, very easy to make it a little more heavier, like I did on my. You see, that have been completely recessed even more than what it was in the beginning, and anyway don't look so deep at all, you know. So when they start ready to be so light and so on, it's probably deeply suggested, in my opinion, to keep it more heavier for the purpose of the detail. And at the end, of course, you can add, being a green model, also the black panel lining to make it even more marked and to have a little better spot eye when you look at it from outside. You know, the model is a curbside, so you don't have the details of the motor, but is no needing, because the line is so beautiful that you really have to admire the beauty of what they did with the eternal life of the 911. Basically all the 911 always look the same. You see, basically it's always the same car repurposed after 50 years. Inside the model also you will have a lot of nice details, you know. And let's have a look to the instruction sheet. Instruction sheet is made in the same way like other big company does, you know, so it's extremely seriously done. And basically you have everything you need to do a curbside model. So all the interior parts is provided with a lot of photo etched said. About the mechanical, you just see the rear part of the exhaust. That is the only part that you basically see in this type of racers, but all the details are extremely, extremely well done. You see, this is the part list, and look what you get for it. Is really, really a lot of stuff. There is a lot of resin detail, and nearly all casted in an excellent quality, you know. Remember that I'm not talking to promote anything. This is something that I paid, guys, so it is not something that they gave me and say, you have to say that is beautiful. No, this stuff I paid full price for it. And I also consider myself lucky, because this model is already sold out nearly worldwide and is not available directly from the company. As I asked them in the beginning, I say, can I have it? Instead of every, can I have it? And they say, we already sold it out, so I cannot do anything about that. I had to buy it by my own to have the model, you know. The wheels are absolutely well done. This is the typical BBS sprocket used by all the other German racers, so also the BMW use the same one. The tires are of really, really nice looking quality. I hope that in the future they will not have any surprise, even if honestly this is basically hobby design stuff, you know. And usually the quality have increased during the years a lot, so they became even nicer and nicer and nicer. The mold is perfect, you know. It's not so easy to do a mold like this, a cast like this in resin, and provide also soft tires, you know, that they are not made in ordinary rubber. That is anyway a kind of resin. You see the extraction points that when they prepared the box of this mold, they correctly place it in the inner position, so you will not see any kind of mold, despite this is just require a little sanding to be taken away, so it's nothing for a molder that goes on making this type of model. The only point that I didn't like it so much, but not because of them, this is because of the material, you know, is about the rear wing. The rear wing is absolutely cool and provided in 3D printing, you know. this is the typical jointing of the 3D printer. So this is a part made by a printer, is not a cast, is not a copy like the rest of the parts. But as nearly always happens with thin parts made in 3D, they are unreliable for the fact that they don't remain straight. As you can see here, also this wing, that they also try to keep the connection point to keep it straight, requires a little extra care that you have to do basically with an ultraviolet lamp and try to keep it straight. You also can do it with an air dryer, but it's not so easy because it's very easy to lose the shape even more over a wing. So probably this part I will rebuild by myself because I like to see straight parts, you know, and in a racer this is carbon fiber, is absolutely straight parts, so I have to be a little more precise in the details. I can save of course the details of the side part of the wing, because the side part, as you can see, they also have the mini bolts and the little frame for the setting of the wing, for the incidence of the wings. So it's absolutely very nice. Just said for this part that after a little while, and this is absolutely not because of the company, whatever you deal with 3D parts, everybody now start to blah about 3D part is extremely tricky for the wrinkling process. So surely all this model have been made after a 3D master, but correctly, what did they do? It was basically what we also do when we do 3D parts, is to use the 3D like a master when it is completely straight, and when it is straight, and just in that moment, keep the copy, keep the mold, and make the proper part in ordinary resin cast. Surely they made the same test there. Surely they seen that to provide this part in a 3D, it's easier, because, you know, if you basically have a 3D printer, you just get the file, you let the 3D printer work for 1 week, and at the end you have the model, you know. And we've seen many models of that one nowadays coming onto the market. But the problem is always that the 3D printer is constantly going on, catalyzing and moving, so they are absolutely unreliable. Remember that the 3D printing is a technology that just arrived on the market since, I guess, 5 to 6 years right now, not more. So we will see what happens with the model completely printed in 3D, and they bought a lot of them, so we will see what happens. But the main idea is that 3D is perfect to create a master. Then you have to go constantly in the old-fashioned way to make a resin part. Resin is absolutely reliable. This is stuff like my stuff, when it is made with the proper resin, you know. And also I made this mistake in the past, you know. There is some models that I did that were using the American smooth on resin that is much more suitable for copying figures, because they grab a lot of details. So I wanted absolutely to have details, but the resin is extremely sensitive to temperature and to the weather conditions, so it's extremely easy to wrinkle. Instead, this type of new resin that we are using here since now, I think, nearly 10 years, we're using this resin. All my yellow model, you know, if you have a gray one, it was something that you bought from me about 10 years ago, you know, but already the 997 never had that type of issues, for example. It's something that we can go extremely thin, and I don't go extremely big like they do here, because this stuff to use the big thickness on the resin is made because very often you can use this type of model to do the die cast. This is basically the same stuff that you can cast in metal to do like Burago stuff and so on, and I'm nearly sure that the origin of this type of master is the same identical stuff. Now everything is made in China, so Alpha model is China, Burago is also China stuff, so they of course will work together, and this is absolutely something that maybe can be done in die cast by other bigger major company with the royalties and all the blah around. But these small easiest production are exceptional because they give you the possibility to have something absolutely unique when you make your own collection, and the quality, as I say, is absolutely stunning. There is no talk about that. So here you really get something that is really what you expect to have it. So, and it don't happen so often with resin stuff. Absolutely don't happen so often. There is a lot of detail. The big roll cage, also this completely made in resin. Surely here also after 3D parts and so on, but you see they prepared the part, they cleaned them all, and then they used them like a master to do the part. Also the exhaust is extremely precise, and yes, the model is absolutely something that you have to go for it. Absolutely. Also the clips on the brakes, you know, the details on the inside the chassis. Disc brakes are also very nice, and they also provide the same in photo etched set, you know. The lower chassis is divided in other subframes, and that it can be okay because there is different angles of parts, plus the very big extractor that is under there, as you can see, and it's completely safe from bubbles and so on, so you don't have any issues. So the quality of the resin part is absolutely exceptional. They did a very good job about that. The only part that I really don't use, honestly, I don't say that I don't like it, basically I don't use because I don't trust them so much, is this kind of screw that nearly all these models, also Studio 27, also Model Factory Hero have it. Why I don't like it? Because it's something that you have really to prepare in the beginning, so you have to prepare a hole in the main body, and you cannot go like if you go in an ordinary plastics and so on, you know, all that holes are probably the hoses for the screw, because it's extremely easy that if you screw a little too much the part will crack. This is extremely crispy material, the resin, you know, despite the quality is absolutely fantastic, but the resin is famous to crack extremely easy, you know, they don't melt and folder like ordinary plastic, so you have to be very careful when you manage screw inside the resin part. That's why usually I keep maybe 2 of them just to fix the point. They provide so many parts with the screw to avoid that the big part with the time maybe placed over something overheating and so on can be wrinkled. So that's why with the metal screw you are sure that even if it is wrinkled it will not move, otherwise you have to glue in the proper way, in the proper direction. This is a track of the little oil of the wash that they add at the end when they do this casting. You see, this is a spot of oil, and the photo etched set is absolutely fantastic, you know. They provide a lot of details, I mean, for the money they ask, and this is not at all, it was not an expensive model, so I mean, for the quality that they offer you, there is much more garbage around that asks so much money for it, and you don't have absolutely this type of quality, you know. And they provide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I count 5 photo etched set. Let me see inside the instruction sheet if I was correct or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photo etched set, you know, including the frame for the windows, with double set of the windows, more than double. They give you 1, 2, and 3 set for the window sides, plus the windshield. You know, of course, in all these model, some modelers complain about that the windshield is anyway flat and they have to be placed over that, but that also resembles the real actual car, you know, because this type of models were not bulged like that one that they did it in the past, so it's absolutely easy to fix it. And also the fact that it's already printed with the black cornice around, you know, remember that in the race car these are not real glasses, they are made in Lexan for safety reasons, so you don't have a real glass over the car. This is just plastic over the racer, you know. And plus they also add, including a complete set for carbon fiber to add all the details you need in the under part of the car. You see, all the undercarriage is made in carbon fiber that you basically will never see when the model is completed, as well as they provide you an ordinary livery that you can see here to complete if you don't like the Rexi model, but if you like the 992 GT3R, you can anyway go for a kind of presentation car like this one is, you see, and is absolutely probably the configuration that they have when they deliver the car, you know, so very basic sponsorship and so on, so it's not something with a number plate over. But I think absolutely that I will go for the Rexi model. I mean, I bought this model because I really like the idea that the kid, that basically all we are when we are looking at this stuff, made this wow aggressive design about wow, this is the dinosaur eating the others, you know, on Le Mans track, and that's it, you know. So as I said again and again, once again, 2/2 models that I have from Alpha Model are exceptional in quality, and my only tip is for you to grab the model as soon as you see that is available for sale. Do not wait, because I was just lucky to find, in the way that I just told you, to find this model, because I badly wanted the model anyway for my collection. I want to have all the Porsches that are in production, that I can do it. I mean, when they don't arrive, I try to do my own version, but you know, it's a little bit hard to do all the racers of a series, so, and I want a complete series of racing Porsches because I like the car a lot. So my tip is always to grab the model, to go for it, and don't wait. Don't be stupid like I did for the 2019 version, which the guy, Lee Ray, I don't know if it was a real name or not, also there, suggested an exchange between my previous R6 model 911 to one of them, and then at the end, when we had to finish the deal, he told me honestly, we already sold it out, everything, and I trust them, because if you check for this model, the Rexi is already probably on eBay raising up in prices, so you can find the model, but Between the American laws that don't allow people to have there the China production stuff, you know, there is the entrance taxation that made them extremely pricey for the US market, you know, but you can have alternative way to find the model. If you want it, of course you get it. It's nothing illegal. It's just something for our own freak collection that we absolutely need to have and to see, because we love nice cars. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching and see you in the next.